And Andy Lou, it's finally here. We are finally to the playoffs. This season, not going to lie, felt longer than most. But the Warriors come through with their 157-101 win over the Blazers, officially locked into the 6th seed, playing the Sacramento Kings. Don't really need to go into today's game per se, but I'm feeling the vibes because officially we're here.
The real season starts now, dude. It's about time. You and I have done, you have done all 82 shows. I've done like maybe 70 or so. And it's about time.
You're on the Adam Silver NBA plan. 65 game season.
Sometimes I'll just text you 2 minutes before. Yeah, I'm not gonna make it. Dude, it's finally. You're right. The vibes are back though. It's not just about the Warriors being the 6th seed, making the postseason, blah blah blah, whatever. They look like they're happy again. They look like they like each other. They look like they enjoy playing basketball. So that I'm in a great mood. Yeah, we'll get into sack, whatever. But for the Warriors, for a team that's 4 championships, 8 years, this is what they're playing for, right? Like, this is exactly what they're playing for. This is all that matters.
Absolutely. And so, like, the main thing I want to talk about, okay, by the way, this was I thought it was going to be a boring Sunday, but it kind of got spicy with the Clippers and the Wolves-Pelicans game. And for a moment there, I thought the Warriors were going to play the Suns. And I'm not going to lie to you, I was a little disappointed because our guy Groovy kind of fully talked me into wanting the Suns matchup.
Wow.
Ultimately happy Kings. It'll be fun, Northern California, but like I kind of was feeling the grudge match with, former friend of the show, Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
And just like how fun that would have been. And, I'm seeing the Clippers losing for most of the day. And I'm like, it's going to happen. We have some fun. We're going to bring Chris Paul back in, play the greatest hits where he's grabbing jerseys and grabbing his hamstring and, the drill. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Just, walking through my feelings.
I would have been nice. I mean, would have been nice. It still could be a Western Conference Finals matchup. So, but yeah, what do you think Adam Silver wanted? You think he wanted Warriors Suns? You think he likes Warriors Kings? I think they're both great. It's both cinematic matchups.
I think we're gonna see some favorable calls for the Lakers in the play-in to make sure they get that 7 seed. But we'll save that because we're just to be clear, we're reacting to the Warriors getting the 6 seed this episode. We'll do a little preview for Wednesday, another little preview maybe with the Kings guy for Friday.
Yep.
So we'll get all into it. The one thing I did want to talk about today's game was Klay Thompson topping 300 threes for the first time in his career and leading the NBA in total threes this year. Andy Lou, did you know only you knew Steph Curry, but only Steph Curry and James Harden have ever made 300 threes in a season.
Wow.
It's a deceptively difficult number to cross if you think about it, because if you play 70 games, you have to make over 4 a game. Like, that's what we're getting at. So, like, Harden obviously got there by spamming 15 attempts a game with the step back. He didn't shoot a high percentage. But most players, even if they're great shooters, they're not getting up 10 a game at 40%, which is really what you have to do it. And for Klay to do it after all the injuries he had, like, I'm not going to lie, I become a pretty big softie with Klay specifically, just because of what he's been through. So it's pretty cool,
dude. When I saw that, I didn't know. By the way, I didn't know that it was just Steph. And it's funny, Steph called him James. It's funny because we call him Harden because we don't know him. Anyway, I almost cried, dude. Like when Klay got the ball,
it feels disrespectful. James.
Like, we can't say that. I was like, LeBron James? Like, LeBron didn't make 300 threes. No way. He looked at that. Did you see his face when he got the game ball? He's not messing around. Klay don't care about 300. I'm sure he cares about 300 threes, but not on his mind right now. Like, what he's thinking about is playoffs, right? Like that's I don't know, man. These vet guys, scary dudes. This is why we love this team so much, those 3 guys. Klay's thinking about it. He's going, yeah, I'm going at the Kings. It's all he's thinking about. That's all the Warriors are thinking about. And it's incredible, but 300 threes is ridiculous. Jordan Poole, Steph, and Klay this season combined for the most threes ever. Did you know that too? That was crazy.
Yeah.
Kind of where the league is today, but those guys are actual shooters though. Like Steph and Klay are actual shooters versus like Harden, like spamming threes. Different.
I like to remind people this. It's like, if the league is going to be all about threes, the team who has the best 3-point shooters will always be better than you at it. You know, like there's no scenario where a team led by James Harden or Paul George, like, and these guys are good shooters, right? Like they can really shoot the ball. Like Dame Lillard, those guys are going to win a shooting contest versus the Warriors. Part of the reason I started warming up to the Suns matchup was because, like, so you're telling me it's about who's going to make more jumpers, Stephen Klay or KD and Booker, and like those guys are phenomenal players and they're scary and they can win against anyone. But it's like, if their offense is built on jumpers, like no one's jumper heavy offense is going to be better than the Warriors jumper.
Didn't Draymond say it before years ago? He says, your shooters are not our shooters.
Yeah,
like exactly. Klay did this on 41% from three shooting. 41. That's insane. That's insane. That's not normal. Jordan Poole is more of a normal 3-point shooter. These two dudes are not normal.
And if you want me to get scared about an opponent, it's going to be a team that does the opposite thing of the Warriors, where it's like the Warriors can't keep them out of the paint. You know, something where you're just like, okay, now it's like a clash of styles. But no one's beating the Warriors in a shootout, you know? Like that's not a...
I'd be more worried about the Lakers, honestly. Like that's a team I would be like, yeah, that's a tough matchup for the Warriors. They're bigger, right? They also got LeBron, obviously. Like it just
80s uniquely difficult for them. Yeah, no, I
like AD could take Draymond out of a game, which is like, it's, you know, tell you who isn't going to take Draymond out of the game. Sacramento Kings, you know what I mean? So
Domantas Sabonis, no, good player though. But yeah, to the point. And did you know Klay never took more threes than twos before his injury? That's been a trend among, you know, as the league has been more 3-point heavy. Look, Steph's obvious. Steph takes 12, 13 threes a game and maybe 8 or so 2-pointers a game, which is why it's hard for him to get 50, 40, 90, even though he basically does when he wants to. Klay didn't start becoming more 3-point heavy until after the injuries. And I think, one, it's crazy because he's the second greatest shooter of all time. And there's really no percentage difference for him taking a 25-footer versus a 20-footer. Like he shoots them at the exact same clip. But two, like just having the strength in your legs to shoot that much from distance after they're both surgically repaired is pretty impressive too.
Insane. We don't really see the pull-up mid-range anymore from Klay. Remember, he used to shoot a lot of that. Now that you're saying it, that's kind of where the league is too. Remember last season, they had Steph shoot a ton of threes, like too much last season.
It felt like it, yeah.
But I don't know, man. It's crazy that he did this. He also didn't play back-to-backs, right? Like he didn't actually even play 80 games. The dude played 68 games. He did this on 68 games.
Yeah,
68 games. Can you imagine what Klay's going to look like next season? I mean, we're going to talk about the postseason here. Klay's, I don't know, like he's going to be, hopefully he's a Warrior for a long time because it looks like he can still play for a very long time, especially what we watched this season.
And and you're right. He basically cut out that pull-up midi for kind of a sidestep three. He's like, I'm going to shoot it at the same percentage. I might as well take the extra point. And for all the people who like complain like, oh man, they're too 3-point centric, until I see them not adjust and go to the mid-range when it matters, I'm not really going to get upset. Like they're not going to do the Harden thing where they're like, well, I took the step back and we lost, you know, like I kind of trust Klay and Steph to be like, I need a bucket. I'm going to get to the elbow.
Yeah.
If you need to, like they've proven it. My general feeling is they've proven it too many times for me to like doubt their ability to adjust on that stuff.
And now we're going to see it because there have been times this season that they haven't done that. They have just spamming and they lose a close game, right? So we're going to see it right now because Warriors aren't going to blow out the Kings. Those are going to be close games. And we'll see what they look like in crunch time. We just saw a week ago they choke a game against Minnesota in crunch time, right? So again, that's different from shot selection. Different from shots. Yeah, they just turned it over, but we'll see. Rest is also good. The Warriors get a week off, dude. Like that's, you talk about Klay who didn't play last game, must win game. He couldn't play. So I'm sure it was kind of serious. but and ends up closing it out. So it's all looking up for the Warriors.
Let's pull up Klay's quote, and then we're going to move forward. This was too good. I have to play it.
It's cool. I think it's cool to lead the league in threes made. Something I never did before. It's a testament to my hard work over the last few years. Some dark times turned into some beautiful moments. And, I usually do what I usually am right about things I say. People might not want to give me credit, but they usually come true.
Funny guy.
Do you think that guy is excited for the playoffs? Because to me, he seems like a dude who cannot wait to prove everyone wrong.
Yeah. Yep. And honestly, he already did. He already proved everyone wrong this season. People can say he does the ring stuff is corny. Like, fuck you. Right? I love Klay. Klay's the best. He said, "There's really
what's corny? You know what's corny? Talking like you're a champion when you've accomplished fucking nothing." So,
and that's facts. And the thing is, they were trying to say that he was washed all season. He's not. He's actually better offensively than he's ever been before. Defensively is a different question, but you're going to tell me the guy that played good defense on Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum in the NBA Finals can't play defense in a playoff scenario? You're telling me that because he can't play defense on a random Tuesday night, he's not going to be able to play defense? Like, it's going to be different. Now, do I think he guards De'Aaron Fox? No, but that's not who he's going to start off on. Can he guard the Keegan Murrays of the world? Yes, absolutely. Right. Harrison Barnes. My bad.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, you're right though. He can still defend. He's not the 26-year-old who, honestly, it's wild how much energy he expended on both sides of the ball and never got tired, right? Like, it's more like that was the outlier than this is the outlier in some ways.
No. I mean, he still got it too. He's still, God, I'm so excited for next Saturday.
I know, right?
Excited.
I know,
I'm so excited.
I can't wait for it. By the way, friend of the show, Shayna Rubin, had this in her article. Did you know the Warriors have had the best defense since GP2 was activated? I know it's only 8 games, so the sample isn't really relevant. But, you add a guy who can make a difference. You get a little serious because you need to. That's the Warriors I like to see. And, for all the Andrew Wiggins talk we've had, if he's not ready, I feel pretty comfortable with the Steph, GP2, Klay, Draymond, Looney lineup. Like, it's the same idea. It's just instead your wing stopper is GP2 instead of Klay.
Yep. Yeah. I believe it. I don't think it's too small of a sample size because you can also throw in last season and use that as your sample size. It passes the eye test. The Warriors look back to normal with GP2 out there. Can we talk about that trade that they did for him? And then the Warriors going through with it, even though GP2 was hurt, didn't play for 6 weeks. And they said, you know what? We're going to do it anyway. Now, maybe part of that is a Wiseman thing. Maybe they just wanted to offload that, right? But I think they knew. They were like, no, we can't not have GP2. If he can play the last 5 games of the season, 10 games of the season, that's all we need. That's all we need.
I really just think the calculus was, can we get him healthy by the playoffs? It's like no one wanted him to not play after the deadline because it just, look, man, you trade the former number 2 pick for an injured guy. Like, it would have been cooler to see who you trade him for. It would have kind of quelled the concerns.
Yep.
But it's life. Like, I really just think the mental calculus was like, Celebrini, can you get him there in 6 weeks?
Yeah. And that's also from the comments here. We got comments saying folks were tracking Wiseman after the trade as if it mattered. It doesn't matter what Wiseman does. All that matters is what the Warriors are right now. Right now, the Warriors look like a championship contender. They do. And, because assuming Wiggins is back for game 1 or game 2 or whatever, right? But they are. And that's all that matters is what this team can do right now. Can they win the 5th championship? Can they win it's insane that they're even fighting for that. It's insane.
It's time to get serious. Look, man, all those annoying January games against the Pistons where Sadiq Bey hits a game winner. Yeah. Against the Magic where Franz Wagner and Bol just beat the shit out of you.
Remember the Pacers coming into the Warriors with no Halliburton, no Miles Turner.
Nembhard looking like Chris Paul in his prime, like just annoying me.
And he's good, but Jesus, what was that? What was that? I mean, we could go down the list. I mean, even a couple weeks ago when they were struggling, remember Memphis starting 4 guards? That would have been a month ago now. But like those type of games is just. But now you watch the Warriors, it's a whole different team.
Yeah,
it's a whole different team. Jalen Suggs making threes for no reason. Comments.
One other quote I want to play here. Draymond post game.
Yeah, I mean, I was on a team that won 73 games, and we lost the final game of the season, and no one talks about that team. So, moral of the story is it does not matter what you do in the regular season. You get to the playoffs, your team will be judged by how you do in the playoffs. No one will, be talking about, they won this many road games or that. No one will care. So just got to go in and take care of, executing the game plan, not making some of the mistakes that we've made throughout this regular season, really being locked in and focused and understanding the road ahead and knowing what it takes will help.
Draymond saying the regular season doesn't matter. It's perfect for Adam Silver's NBA.
Can I shout out Draymond for the season too? He was incredible this season. I mean, we talked about Klay this season, but Draymond pretty much played every game.
I feel like I don't know how he's healthy. I don't know how he and Looney is. I don't know how he and Looney did it, honestly. Looney's honestly a little wilder because he doesn't even look banged up. Draymond, I know there's like 18 different treatments every game.
Yeah. I mean, and Draymond's playing minutes. I mean, love Looney. He's playing 20, 25 minutes. Like Draymond's playing 30 plus minutes every game. He was out there every single game. And
to your point, I have in front of me, but yes, Draymond, even though he only played 73 games to Loon's, which is impressive, to Loon's full 82, he did play about 300 more minutes.
Yeah. And here's the thing. It's Draymond time in the postseason. I mean, he's about to get all the minutes. The Warriors' best lineup is going to be Draymond at the 5 against Sabonis.
Did you know? Would it shock you to find out Draymond had the highest plus minus on the team?
Did he really? Yeah. Wow. Remember early in the season when they put him with Poole too? They started him with because off the bench because just the Poole minutes were so bad with so many bad players around him. I mean, he knocked a dude out, but once that happened, I think Draymond has done really no wrong for this team, and he's been excellent ever since that punch.
By the way, well, let's sidetrack here to Rudy Gobert.
Oh boy, talking about
the punch. Draymond trolling Rudy. When Draymond punched Poole, Rudy Gobert tweets, "Insecurity is always loud." So what does Draymond Green have to tweet after whatever the hell is going on with the Wolves? Well, insecurity is always loud.
I mean, just insane that Rudy Gobert did it literally in prime time on national television. What are you doing?
In a must-win game for them. I mean, I guess it's not must-win. They're still in the play-in and all that sort of stuff, but it's like, Draymond got into his shit in preseason. He got into shit with KD in, like the 5th game of the regular season or something, this is a game you have to win, and he's getting into it right there. Yeah. Come on,
it's just unbelievable. Mm-hmm. Though to be fair, not really a punch, not the same punch that Draymond threw. That's for sure. Yeah, 8-day from the comments right here. Draymond better at punching teammates than Gobert too. Yeah, I mean the Gobert was kind of like a shove-ish kind of thing. Draymond knocked Poole out. Absolutely knocked him out.
If you're gonna cross the line, cross it.
Go pussyfoot it. Go all the way. All the way. Lucky for the Lakers though, right? Because Gobert, maybe he won't play. Then Jaden McDaniels broke his hand. That's your best defender. Right? You know me. I love Jaden McDaniels. He broke his hand. Crazy.
He breaks his hand. That happens on the bench, and they still somehow win the game. They come from behind to win that game. Ant Edwards, very good player.
Pretty good. Gonna be pretty good.
That's a different thing. Let's do a couple minutes of Kings, and then let's get to the comments. Just so everyone listening, we're going to do a full preview on the next pod. We'll get some Kings guys on following that. We'll have stuff all week for everyone. What's your initial early impressions of this matchup?
The Kings offense is, I think people don't realize how great it is. I think that's number one. They are going to score. I don't know that the Warriors can slow them down. But the second thing that I think about is the Kings' best style of play is the Warriors' style of play. And just my overall thought is you're never going to beat the Warriors playing that style of play. At least we've never seen anyone beat the Warriors. So I'm relatively confident about this matchup. We'll see. We'll see. And then the Wiggins stuff, right? We keep talking about it, but the Wiggins stuff, is he going to be back for game one? How's that going to look? So those are my initial thoughts.
Yeah. I think that's a great call. And I think in some ways the Kings are a tougher matchup than the Suns would have been.
Wow.
Wow. The Suns would have ISO'd the Warriors to death. Now, they have two of like the 5 or 6 best ISO players, so it's not like that would have been bad basketball for them. But the Kings are going to run the Warriors. They're going to move the ball. If you're worried about that 4th or 5th guy in the rotation, they're going to get Herter, getting him off a brush screen wide open over and over again. They're really going to test how locked in you are as a 5-man unit. They don't have the high-end talent the Suns have. They don't have a Kevin Durant. They don't have, well, I mean, you could say De'Aaron Fox as good as Devin Booker. But anyway, they definitely don't have Kevin Durant. But they play a style that's more likely to expose your weaknesses. I think we're going to get a little frustrated watching the Warriors against them a little bit, but I think ultimately it's going to be for the better for the Warriors too. Yeah. This Warriors team is actually going to make a run. They're going to have to be able to go through teams like this,
regardless,
a 5-man
right?
unit.
Yeah.
So,
regardless.
And to your point, Sabonis is an excellent player, but Sabonis is, to me, a worse version of Jokic, and that's a player the Warriors know how to beat in crunch time. Yep. So I think as long as they stick to their game plan and do not get out of control, I feel pretty good about them closing. I know De'Aaron Fox has been the best closer in the NBA, but I'm going to take I'm going to take Steph going one-on-one versus a big like Sabonis to close the game.
Yeah. And you know, the Warriors can guard Sabonis. The Warriors can't guard Jokic. Nobody can guard Jokic.
Sabonis is still going to get his, though, because he's a good passer. Like he's going to be effective offensively anyway.
Yeah. I mean, that's if I swear to you, if I don't see high pick and roll against Sabonis to start the game, I'm going to be and we're not going to get high pick and roll till the Warriors are down 15 in the fourth quarter. We're not getting pick and roll. So it's going to be you know what it is? You know what the series is? And yeah, we're not going to do a preview right now, but final thing, it's going to be a fun series. Yeah. Like, I don't think we're not going to sit here and like have to listen to CP3. I mean, the Memphis one like wasn't fun either. They're just annoying, right? Like those series weren't that fun to watch. This thing is going to be fun. Like, each game might be in the 120s, and we'll see. I think one thing I want to think about, what I want to see is playoff defense real? Because is playoff style real? Because you think about the way the Kings play, and you're kind of like, is that going to work in the playoffs? But that's how everybody plays now.
Yeah,
that's how everybody plays. So we'll see.
Yeah, I agree. iBasketball TV asks, you guys think Wiggs starts right away? I think they already said he'd start when he's healthy. It's going to be more interesting how many minutes he plays. Like, Steve's going to start him, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was a 22-minute game for him,
Does he
that
close?
Sort of thing.
That's the real question for me, is like, does he close though?
Yeah, I mean,
it's a close game. It's kind of interesting.
There's going to be a ramp up no matter what. I just think he's going to start because Steve likes to, have him in the rotation, feeling comfortable with that unit a little bit. So yeah. Let's get to some voicemails, Tim.
The Goons.
Hey guys, it's your boy Reggie. I'm out here in Portland. Damn, what a game. What a game. That was a hell of a first quarter. Nothing else needs to be said. That was a crazy performance. Steph Curry is the best. Klay Thompson is the best, and Light Years Pod is the best. Can't wait for the second season, the real season. Go Dubs, and thank you guys.
Thank you.
I love it. Let's keep
That's
moving.
a Pete Goon Reggie, by the way.
What's up, fellas? It's Archie. We finally made it. Welcome to the postseason. Felt like a playing team all season, but, we got to the 6th seed, which was incredible. All things considered with the year. I kind of felt like Ty said on the last pod, I would have loved to have Phoenix. The prospect of sending CP3 and KD home in the first round. Oh, that would have been the top non-finals moment for me over the 2019 Game 6 against the Rockets. Glad we're here. I'm picking Warriors in 6 against the entire field. The only team I'm really worried about is the Bucks, but that's neither here nor there. We got the Kings. Let's take care of business. Stay locked in. I'm not really worried about flipping a switch. Just play your game, and I think we'll be good. Last thing, Curry gets the 5 rings. It's him, Jordan, Kobe. I don't want to hear anybody else's arguments after that. Thanks, guys. See you at the top.
That's a strong finish.
Archie, always calling. I appreciate that. I do agree with him. The Warriors are reaching legacy levels that you just cannot talk with. If they hit 5, it's them in Showtime. The Bulls are probably still above that. 6.
6 is 6.
Just
Yeah,
is
6
what it
is
is.
6. Didn't never lost.
But if you're talking about NBA history, 5 puts you in the all right. It's the Bulls, Showtime, Warriors. That's it. Those are the only teams that matter. Kobe and Shaq can, they're one of the best teams I ever saw. That was only 3. They won 2 in a different iteration. This is the same core winning 5. The Bulls, it was Scotty, MJ, Phil. They won 6. Showtime, it was Magic, Worthy, Kareem, those guys. It's like at a certain point, that stuff matters. So I think 5 is huge for this team.
Spurs, how many did they win?
5,
but across like 15 years.
Yeah,
right?
It doesn't count to me, honestly. I don't mean just right. Like they're a model of consistency, but their dynastic run was 3 and 5 years.
Yeah.
And then they had 4 years before and 1 6 years after. And that's cool and it's impressive. And Tim Duncan's one of the 10 best players of all time.
Timmy. Yeah.
And all that stuff's true, but it's not the same as like, the Lakers get Magic and they become Showtime. And it's a thing, It's a little different.
Yeah.
I want to ask this one. This is a great comment. Let's get this question before we get to the next voicemail. James asks, regular season wrap up. Best game and worst game. He goes, best game was the home win over the Bucks. Worst game was the loss at the Hornets or the Jazz. I think I know what my best and worst game are. Andy, you want to go first?
That game, I'll go with worst game. I think there have been more worst games this season for the Warriors.
They stick in my mind for sure.
Yeah. That Indiana one to me was terrible. That one was the one that they were just coming back home. They were just getting on a hot streak. They had recovered from being 3-7. And then they get cooked by Andrew Nembhard. So we talked about that earlier. That's a bad one. The Jazz one is a decent one just because they won that game by 4 separate times. Minnesota just happened. Like that almost cost them the 6th seed. That game, the Warriors could have been a play-in game because of that game. So I think when you talk about bad games, that Indiana one really sticks in my mind. That was terrible.
The Milwaukee one is a good best game. I also want to throw the win in Philly. I think the win against Philly at home when Embiid went for 46, it was just unstoppable. Was pretty damn cool.
I'll do a best game for you. Oh, you doing worst? Oh, you doing worst? Okay.
Tell me your best one first.
I like Atlanta. Double OT. Klay go for 54.
The Dante game.
Lewins. Yep. Like I'll go with that one because it felt like Klay, you're back, like type of thing. So that was awesome.
And doing it without Steph when they needed to get a win, just because sometimes you just gotta the gutty win matters a little more.
Yep.
For me, the worst loss is actually not the Charlotte one that he mentioned. It was the game after it against Detroit. They lost in Charlotte, and I was like, this is disgusting. And then they decide to play Steph in a back-to-back in Detroit because they have to get the win. and they still lose. That was the game where I was 100% convinced James Wiseman will never be a Warrior. He got owned by, I want to say, Isaiah Stewart.
Yeah, beef
and
stew.
you can hear Looney on the bench going, "Come on, Wise!" Like Looney of all people, eye rolling. So
That's a great choice. We only
that one frustrated the hell
because
out of me.
you're right. They had to play the back-to-back. They were not supposed to play, and they got cooked. It wasn't a close game.
Like a typical Warriors team is like, okay, they lost a bullshit game. They're gonna win the next one, and we're gonna be mad they even had to do that. You know, they were just anyway.
3-7,
New season.
Warriors
We're
start
beyond
to
this. We're beyond
Yeah,
this.
we're good. We're good. Keep moving.
Hi, Sam and Andy. This is Uday in Oakland. First time, long time. Wanted to see what you guys' thoughts were on the strategy with bringing Andrew Wiggins back for the Kings series. Wondered if you think the Warriors might consider just not playing him game one and try to go all out to win game one without Wiggins, kind of like they did against Memphis last year, and take home court from a young team right off the bat, and then use game two to integrate him into the lineup. Curious where your thoughts are. Thanks. Bye.
Ooh, that's an interesting theory. I think you have to play him if he's cleared. Period. With that said, as I said earlier in the show, I'm very convinced that he's going to play only 20 minutes in his first game. I think it's going to be a slower ramp up than people want. And I'm just reading the tea leaves between how they're talking about him, plus just every other player that has ever come back from anything under Celebrini. Like, it's not like anyone comes back and plays a full 30 under him, you know? Yep. It's always that sort of thing. So I kind of think if he's cleared to give you 20 minutes, you got to take those minutes and then 100% just run with it, you know?
Yeah, it'd be malpractice for him to come back after 2 months off and play 30 minutes. And we're not talking about 30 minutes against the Detroit Pistons in a game that who gives a shit about. We're talking about on the road. Saks Arena is going to be insane. Pressure situation. I don't know. 20 minutes. It makes sense for you to start off small. But I think by the end of the series, this baby goes 5, 6 games. Shit, maybe 7 games. He's going to be. I feel like he's probably going to be playing his normal amount of minutes.
And in some ways, you kind of have to look at it as like, you know, last year they brought Steph off the bench. Now, honestly, there was other reasons they brought him off the bench, but like, they had to deal with the reintegration. Are you not going to reintegrate one of your best players? Like, inevitably, it's going to be a little bit of a thing. You just kind of have to bite the bullet and go through it. Like, there's only one way to get to the other side, and that's actually doing it.
Yep. Rasmus shouting us out from Germany, by the way. Love the Goons. Global. But also Guru from the comments there makes a point. He's either coming back game 1 or game 3, right? Not coming back game 2. That makes sense. Do they want to bring him back for a home game? Maybe. Like, maybe that's. I don't know. You kind of Warriors can't mess around though. So if he's good, you got to play.
And just to end this, it feels more like a medical decision than any sort of like, you know, 4D chess. Like Celebrini's just going to kind of make the rules and they're going to just work on it from there. So
I mean, you hear about GP2 last postseason. Remember, like GP2 could have played a game before that he came back on. Like he was ready to play, but Celebrini said no.
Yeah,
absolutely not.
Exactly.
Here we go. I'm like kind of scared. I'm just so nervous. Like the playoffs are such a stressful time. You know, such a stressful time. Like I'm gonna need like pop some Xanax or something. It's like 2 months. I mean, hopefully, if it's 2 months, it's a good thing. But it's stressful. But I'm excited. I think. A hot take on this take. I think maybe the Warriors maybe drop game 1 because like that place was just rocking and stuff like that. But I think Warriors in 6. I think they'll win. You know, it's going to be like a lot like the Memphis series now that we have to play all these road games, which we're not really used to, right? We're always starting at home for the last 8 years. They'll win 1 of 2. They'll win both back in the Bay. Maybe drop game 5 and win it in 6. That's what I'm hoping for. I think they'll win, and I also think, I don't know if this is a hot take, I think the Clippers will beat the Suns
Wow.
Assuming Paul George comes back, which I don't know, but if Paul George comes back, I think Clippers. Whoa, sorry about that, Wishback. Clippers beat the Suns. Love you guys a ton. Have a great show.
It's a great
Go
call.
Dubs.
Wow, great calls today.
That is a great call.
Clippers Suns. Wow, that is wow.
I don't know.
I
feel like I'm gonna weigh in on the other series midweek here. I don't know. What's your, what's your gut take on the other series?
I think the Memphis Grizzlies are in trouble. They're the
we don't know that for sure because the plan has that. Well, when we pod after Tuesday, we'll have a better idea.
Most likely. The West, there's no easy series. I was gonna say this earlier. There's no easy teams to play. This is not the Eastern Conference. You don't get to play the freaking Atlanta Hawks in the first round. There's no
Shout out friend of the show, Grant.
Yeah. There's no the Warriors are the 6th seed. They're the defending champions. They're not a 6th seed. they're a 1 seed.
Right.
And I know people love to hate on Denver, but that's a real team. It's a legit team. There's no easy teams. There's no easy matchups for the Warriors. I guess the only easy one is the Clippers because Paul George is out, but that's not easy. You're still playing Kawhi. The West is a beast. It's an absolute beast. It sucks to be Sack first time 20 years.
I think I agree with you. This entire year, the East has been on their high horse about finally being the better conference. You won more games in the regular season. I don't actually believe that they're better teams in the East. I don't know. It's just like,
no, you're right. You're right. And really, the East, as much as people want to say how great it is, they only have 2 championship contenders, right? They've got the Bucks and they've got the Celtics. The West has multiple.
Oh, you're not believing in James Harden and Joel Embiid.
Real shocker that I don't.
2 MVPs. 2.
No, dude, I don't believe in Philly. Be serious. Plus, Doc Rivers is the
coach. And I disagree with Rush in the comments. If anything, Kawhi is overrated. Nah, Kawhi's right. He can do things in the playoffs that those dudes in Philly and Cleveland could only dream of.
100%. Kawhi is a championship player. We know that. We've seen it. You could say what you want about his leadership, right? And kind of putting the team together in LA is kind of a joke, right? But not everyone's a leader.
The ultimate clock in, clock out guy. Shows up, gets his 30 on 18 shots.
Yeah. I mean, he's not. There's only so many people that can lead a winning. It's Steph, it's LeBron, and you could throw Giannis in there. Might be a little early, but throw him in there. There's not that many guys. Like that. But when you talk about as good as can be as a champion, Kawhi's right there. Kawhi.
Yeah. If he's physically right, I can totally buy people who are like, I don't know if I believe in his being able to stay healthy. It's real.
Kawhi versus KD is a crazy matchup, though, huh?
It is.
I didn't actually even realize that. Wow.
It's a fun one. And then you got Russ too.
Oh my god.
Oh, yeah. That's not going to be a good look for Kevin if he loses to Kawhi with Russ. Anyway,
no comment.
Let's move forward. Tim, what else we got?
Hi, Sam and Andy. This is Shreya, first-time caller. I am so psyched now that Warriors have clinched a seat at the table in the playoffs that I'm very, very interested as to how the opponent 3-point percentage will play out in this series. Now, I know that Kings are a beautiful offensive squad and they will probably get really hot from the 3-point line. So what do you think will need to change from what we've seen from the Warriors this entire season when the opponent is completely killing them from the 3-point line, especially at their home and for Warriors away? And I'm guessing that will have to change this time if the Warriors have to get a win on the road, which they'll have to in order to beat the Kings. So that's the question. What do you think will have to change for the Warriors and how are they going to get that win?
It's a good question.
Yeah. Let me go first. I think the road record's kind of overrated. I'm going to take 10 years of sample size of the Warriors on the road versus kind of what's been a wacky, weird season. I mean, the Warriors, the first 10 games of the season versus the Warriors 10 games, the last 10 games now is completely different. Completely different. So I think that's my initial thought.
Yeah. to add to it, I would say the Kings can shoot it. Force some turnovers. This is going to be a GP2 series to me. You know how you can stop the Kings from hitting a bunch of threes? Force them to turn the ball over a little more. That's going to be one way, in my opinion, to get the Warriors out there. The other is going to be just don't mess around on offense. Like put Sabonis in actions, get yourself easy shots. You know, they're high octane. They're going to hit shots that frustrate you. Herter is going to hit some threes that are like Klay Thompson-esque where you're just like, bro, you know, like that sort of stuff. Like you're not going to hold them to 90 points, you know, they're going to go on some runs. So you have to be smart and work around that a little bit.
I do think, and we'll get into this week, but the GP2 John Morant matchup was huge. They may have to look at that GP2 De'Aaron Fox. I think that's something they'll have to look at. They'll have to look at starting him, especially if Wiggins is not ready. So
I agree. I mean, I think my prediction is he's closing games. I think Wiggins probably won't close games, at least until it's clear that he's, physically back.
Yep.
And if he's not closing games, GP2 will be closing games because he's kind of rounding into form. They know they can count on him defensively. They know how to work with him offensively. And quite frankly, this is one of the two teams who are completely point guard led. So like he's a perfect guy to put on him, right? Like it's just not even a question, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean they've got Dante, they've got matchups. The Warriors rotation is actually stacked if they're healthy.
Yeah.
All right, we got one more.
Let's do it.
I'm tired of the fake humility. Oh, how many games is it going to take us to beat Sacramento? It's dubs in 4 or 5. Look, I like the Kings. I got nothing against the Kings like I do the LA franchises. I'm proud of them. They won a state title for the first time in, 20 years. But it's like you can't really construct a team that can be that good and also this good of a matchup for the Warriors. The bonus switches on Steph and Poole. It's going to be a wrap. And then we got Memphis in the next round, sort of have the mental edge there. I don't really want to be Ja going into road arenas in the playoffs. I don't think people are going to be very nice, and a lot of that swagger is worn off. I mean, Western Conference Finals before we break a sweat. And then we'll see. I think the old guys and Jokic on the other bracket, they're going to get tired by then. I like this. We'll see if it's Giannis in the finals, but look, I can't see a better path for us. Dubs in 4.
This is great. This is great.
This is the energy we need to end on. Dude, I'm so ready for the playoffs. It's finally time. Let's go.
I think as Warriors fans, this every year. I mean, is this kind of the most exciting kind of? There's been seasons where you're like, okay, first round series, they play the Pelicans, kind of a joke. Like it's not really a series until you get to the Western Conference Finals. But I think for the first time, we're like, yeah, this is because even they played the Nuggets last year. You're like, yeah, they're gonna win. But this is fun. This is fun. All right, good stuff. We'll be back.
Appreciate everyone.